as with so many things, one thing the Attorney General can do is stop doing the detrimental things. The incumbent Ken Paxton actually sued the State Fair of Texas for enforcing its rule to prevent firearms from being brought into the State Fair of Texas. You know, the Attorney General is not a criminal prosecutor. They do enforce certain laws, but they do have a huge microphone and they do set the tone. So let's start doing things that call into question practices which endanger people rather than practices that protect people. So I think it's going to be just kind of reversing the narrative and taking a lead on things. I was endorsed by Moms Demand Action in this race because of the legislation I've filed towards gun safety in this state. And I think we need a leading voice, and the Attorney General's office can do that really kind of with the microphone itself. You've got a variety of things here. First of all, if things are, you have your local jurisdiction, you have county authority of city authority. If they're unincorporated areas, it's just going to be state authority. So having a good relationship with your state legislators, your representatives and your senators is going to be one critical thing. When you're talking about things like enforcement of environmental protections, I would have a good relationship with the district attorney who can bring lawsuits to enjoin things, and the Attorney General's office and the TCEQ. And the Attorney General is charged with working with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Sometimes it may be that they're just not paying attention or they're not enforcing rules for bad reasons. Sometimes it could be that they're overworked. You get the attention of the Attorney General's office. If I'm there, you'll have my attention. I have done a ton of work in the environmental space. Go to the Attorney General's office, point out the problem. I've got massive resources to investigate, direct line to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. I have already passed legislation that increases penalties on polluters. If they are mucking up your water, absolutely bring it to my attention and I will bring forces to bear on it. The Attorney General I'm a lawyer. I've practiced in the courtroom. I'm a litigator. I don't love it as much as I love waking up every day caring about what I do and the million people that I represent and the 31 million people that I represent. But I am a lawyer. I do understand the law, and I think it's critical that you have an attorney who understands the law. That's going to narrow down your eligible attorneys general to like 100,000 people, right? Or if you just do good litigators, maybe it's 10,000 people. I think we need to look at the term Attorney General the way we look at the term Surgeon General. You're not looking for the guy who can do the best kidney transplant. You want that guy for your kidney or for your loved one's kidney. The Attorney General, the general part is you are managing the legal efforts of the entire state of Texas. And for that, I think you need an appreciation, an understanding of how the law works, an appreciation for the importance of the rule of law, a respect for the Constitution, a respect, importantly in this day, for separation of powers. When we see the president and the governor taking power from the legislature, when we see the legislature taking power from the courts. And my experience in the legislature actually relates directly to the Attorney General's office in this respect. I'm known in the legislature for shooting holes in bad unconstitutional Republican legislation for how they're violating not just their own professed values, but the law itself and the Constitution itself. So I think it's a good place where you have those critical skills that you learn as an attorney, both in prosecuting a case and in figuring out how to keep people out of trouble, how to settle cases before they happen, how to give people warnings and say, don't screw up or I'll come after you. All that comes through legal training, but melding it with an understanding of how government works that I think is so important in the Attorney General's office. Let's start with what doesn't separate us. We're both Democrats. Yeah. If you go through issue for issue, you're going to be hard pressed to find a whole lot of daylight. You might find some different responses on some things. I think my opponent likes to make issues where there aren't issues. I think one of the most important differences is that elections are hard. I know how to win them. I've flipped a 32-year Republican seat. I've defended my seat against a Republican challenge. I've defended it in Democratic primaries. I'm able to reach voters on a mass scale. So being able to win the election is important. It is significant that I did come out on top on March 3rd with a 22-point lead. I think the voters have already spoken, like, who's the stronger candidate in this race. I don't think anybody needs to make up their mind on May 26th based on that, but it does indicate that we're trusting that this guy can win the election in November. I think it's important that I have relationships with the other candidates on the ticket, that I've worked with them in the legislature. So the second main issue is, what are you going to do when you get to the office? Can you do the job? And will you be a good Democrat when you're doing the job? I have the endorsements of Lloyd Doggett and Wendy Davis and Sierra Club and Moms Demand Action and the AFL-CIO. And the reason I have them is they've observed me for 8 years in the legislature, figuring out some way, how on earth do you protect the environment? in the Texas legislature, and I've done it. I've been able to pass acts for clean air, clean water, clean soil, put higher penalties on polluters. So I think the record speaks for itself that I have been in every single Democratic fight, promoting abortion rights, promoting independent redistricting commissions, opposing gerrymandering, opposing school vouchers, supporting diversity efforts, trying to get more voting places on college campuses. You've seen that I'm out front on these Democratic fights, but it does also take some political skill. The Attorney General's office should be depoliticized, departisanized, but we are in a political environment, and the ability to pass 130 bills from the minority while still standing your ground as a Democrat means that I know how to work with and against Republicans at the same time. We're going to need, to a large degree, to have as many people as possible pulling in the same direction. And I think I've demonstrated the skills to do that. And I think that also sets us apart.